Hey guys, Ben Paint here, and today we are back once again for another video at Teamsport Bristol, and today we are watching an elite Top Gun event. Now, we have had a little bit of a break in between some of the videos, obviously due to personal circumstances for myself, but we're back and we're ready to take on whatever we have to throw at us. Now, if you do enjoy the video which you're about to watch, could you please hit the like button, as I really do appreciate it. And if you are new here, could you please hit the subscribe button, as it really does help me out and really does motivate me to make more and more videos in the future. You are watching a video from last week, last Thursday. However, I do know that you are all looking forward to the regional final footage, which will be coming very soon. I have it edited, I just need to speak over it, so that will be coming later on this week. Now, here we have the elite Top Gun session, and this was run a little bit differently, and what you're watching here is the last section. So this was split into 3 stages or 3 parts. Usually it's an hour-long event straight away, but instead it was split into 2 15-minute sessions as a random grid, and then a 30-minute session at the end. Now what we're watching here is the 30-minute session at the end of the evening, and here you can see we're starting in 14th place, and I was already looking for moves up the inside of Alex, who was ahead of us, AJC Karting, as you may know him, and we're just trying to make some inroads. You can see we are starting quite far down the grid, and this was due to me changing my kart. So the first car I used in practice didn't feel too good, so I swapped it. We then went into the next car that I used, and this was the one I used in the first and second sessions, and that also wasn't very good. I wasn't making up a lot of time, a lot of pace, and I didn't know if that was because I was a bit rusty to Bristol from not going in a while, or if I just genuinely didn't have the pace. But then I swapped to this car, and honestly, it was worlds apart. You can see straight away making a move up the inside of Alex on the first hairpin in the top section, and as I mentioned, this car felt like it was glued to the track in comparison to the other 2 karts I used, so I knew that I did have the pace. I was just given a car that didn't quite feel that it had the pace. But moving on straight away, you can see we made our first move up into 13th, and now we're looking to try and close down on the drivers ahead. So you can see the driver ahead here in kart number 11. I was just trying to size them up, look for a way to get through. You can see there's a big train up ahead of them, and this is something I was trying to overcome. But you can see getting a better exit out the bottom corner, but obviously due to my weight, which as we all know is my favourite excuse, I just didn't quite have the drive up the ramp, and this is going to be a theme for the whole video really. I was getting really good exits and closing up in a lot of the corners, but just that top section where you need to have a tiny bit more power, a little bit less weight, and it just wasn't coming up or coming across for me. So here you can see all over the back of the driver number 11 trying to take a little bit of an unorthodox move and squeeze down the inside, but it wasn't quite paying off, and therefore I had to slot in behind, losing a little bit of time, and time I was trying to gain back once again. You see up the ramp the driver getting away, but we cut forward again a few laps later, and we're sort of in the same position. I couldn't really find many inroads at this point in the session. I was sort of stuck back here in 13th place. You can see there's a lot of drivers bunched up ahead and a lot of opportunities to overtake. So here just really getting as close as possible, almost touching here, and I look for a move down the inside here on kart number 11, and we do make it stick, and I actually managed to slide up the inside there into 12th position, which I was really happy with. So that's 2 positions now gained in the session. And here once again you can see there's a huge gaggle of cars up ahead, and one that I was really just trying to close up to and try and make moves on if I could into the later parts of the session. So going around the bottom corner here, the big right-hander, just really trying to maximise my exit so I get as much speed as I possibly can down the straight, as I feel like this is another place that I was lacking compared to some of the other drivers. I'm really able to close up in the Mickey Mouse section, really up behind the driver ahead. I'm really looking for moves up the inside if I can and where I can see it. So you can see I get a way better exit, but once again just not having the speed up the ramp, so stuck in 12th position and really trying to find a way through here, looking up the inside and actually managing to squeeze the driver behind out. So I was actually able to move up there into 11th, so a really opportunistic move there with all the drivers fighting with one another. So that's now 3 positions we gained in only a matter of a few laps, and we're looking once more just to try and plough on ahead. Obviously we see in the top left the lap times aren't too good. Last lap of near 42nd lap so we're not really on pace where we want to be, but obviously this is detriment to fighting amongst some of the other drivers and being held back almost as we're trying to race around the track. And here once again moving on a few more laps and really in the back of this train here, going up behind the driver ahead. I believe that was Joseph in front of me. I look for a move down the inside here, causing a little bit of an argy-bargy move, so I decided to let Joseph back through ahead of me. I thought it was a bit of a dirty move and I didn't really want to just squeeze him out and sort of steal the position off him, so I let him back ahead. I thought it was the fair thing to do, so back down into 11th once again and looking for some moves up the pack. And here again just moving on once more. You can see how close we are to the drivers ahead, and here was sort of where the downfall of the session came. I left the door open a little bit too much. I believe that Charlotte goes down the inside, doesn't quite give me enough room. I end up making contact and being squeezed out, and that led to me leaking all the positions that I've made up throughout the session, sort of losing all of them. So straight back down into 14th place. You can see me there shaking my head, a little bit upset with the overtake and the positions lost, but the only thing you can do in this situation is just get your head back down and really try and focus on gaining those positions back. So as I said, all the positions that we've gained we're now consequently lost thanks to that move, but what we can do is obviously shake it off, try and get a head down as I mentioned, and once again a good exit out of the corner but not having the power. And here we move on once again, some better laps here, 39-second dead, and really closing up behind the train ahead once again, behind cart number 11 once more and almost touching. So going for a very similar move here, cutting up the inside but unfortunately just sliding into the person ahead, so I decided to yield the position, obviously due to not having any drive up the ramp as well, so I had to let that position go. And unfortunately it wasn't a very good move for myself. I think a little bit frustrated that I had lost all those positions, so I had lost my head a little bit here, so just trying to get myself refocused. You can see me stretching myself out, just trying to refocus and make sure that I don't let my head drop too much as we look to sort of catch up to the drivers ahead, rather than get into more scrapes and moves like that where it just doesn't really help myself or the drivers ahead. So here just really trying to knuckle down, just trying to get back into the groove. You see there's a huge train up ahead and I really wanted to get in and amongst it. I would have been right in the middle of it if it wasn't for the contact earlier in the race where I really was a little bit disappointed, but we are looking to just improve on our starting position if we could. So coming through the two top hairpins, you can see we really are closing to the driver up ahead, but we are still quite far behind. And moving on later into the race once again, a few laps later, you can see the lap time is 39 dead pretty much, and we come across the line at 38.967, so getting on some pretty quick laps now. See a bit of a kerfuffle up ahead and really trying to capitalise on it, making a little bit of a move down the inside but not quite getting the driver out of the corner that we wanted, and that meant that I couldn't quite make any moves stick. So again, still in 14th place, still stuck behind some of the other drivers ahead, and really just trying to knuckle down, get some quick laps in, much as I had earlier in the race leading up to this time where I caught up to the drivers ahead. And you can see the driver ahead knows that he's under a bit of pressure, making a few mistakes here, and the driver ahead of them, I believe that was Charlotte actually, just going a little bit wide. I don't know if they had a bit of a dodgy cart, because you'll see later in the session it really was sideways all over the place. I know she is a better driver than just to slide round every corner, but here closing right up behind car number 11, and deja vu once again. We do look for a move down the inside but think better of it and instead stay behind car number 11, getting a better run once again, and me just wondering now on the steering wheel why I can't get the run up the ramp. But I guess obviously it is due to me being quite heavy compared to some of the other drivers. We're not going to make that as the main excuse, but once again just trying to just stay in contention for a higher place. You can see there Charlotte going really wide again and the driver ahead almost banging into her, so we didn't really want to get involved in any more incidents. We just wanted to get our head down and just catch up to the drivers ahead and make some moves if we could. Coming for a little bit of a wider line here just to try and get a better exit out of the Mickey Mouse section. Going really well here, looking for a little bit of a move down the inside here on number 11 and just not quite having the room and causing me to hit the barrier. A little bit upset there at that point, and luckily for me there I looked to the left and there's actually Henry Barrington, who was in the lead of the race, and I thought at this point I'd use him as a little bit of a battering ram to try and clear some of the people ahead. And you will see that this does actually manage to be quite a successful tactic. So you can see I let him pass and let him race off into the distance, and I was just trying to keep pace with him just so I could try and maybe make a move when he does try and pounce on the opportunities that come. So you can see how much time he's gained on me already, so clearly he was being quite quick on this evening, and I was really just trying to close up behind him and not lose too much time to him or the other drivers ahead. So here you can see he's really close up to the driver in car number 11 there, looking for a little bit of a move, lunges up the inside there, manages to make the move stick, and that actually sends the driver quite wide. And then Charlotte, she gets taken by Henry as well, and I actually capitalise on this situation quite a bit here, just slipping down the inside there on the second hairpin of kart number 11. So my plan actually worked quite well. It actually allowed me to gain a position over where I was, so up into 13th place now, and really trying to focus on Charlotte once again, who was ahead of me. You can see how much her kart just didn't have a lot of grip, so sliding all over the place. So I knew that she didn't quite have the pace that I thought she would, so I was really just trying to focus on getting my exits right. You see again going quite wide, and unfortunately for me, she is a lot lighter than me, she was able to sort of make amends going up the ramp. But here I was really closing in through the corners, and we jumped forward once again in 13th place still. We're really closing up behind her here, looking for a way past in the latter parts of the race. So here just really closing up, really looking for a move. You can see Henry ahead as well, overtaking another two drivers, and I'm almost going into the back of Charlotte there, luckily managing to ease off the pace just enough, and almost getting held up here once again, just really looking for a way past if I could, going wider once again, just to try and get a good exit out of the corner. You can see she's all over the place in the Mickey Mouse section. I didn't really expect it, sort of saying, come on, we could do better than this, try and overtake the people ahead as well. But here, just trying to tuck into the slipstream here, trying to gain a little bit more pace up the ramp. You can see once again she gained another kart length or two up the ramp. So here again, just really trying to make sure that my lines were as clean as they possibly could be. As you can see, she was a little bit wayward, a little bit all over the place, and I was really just trying to close up as much as I possibly could. Again, going really wide in the last corner, and this really allowed me to close up behind her. Now coming down the straight, coming into the first corner, we really were almost touching at this point. She goes very wide there, once again sliding out, and I was really just trying to look for a place on the track to just try and make my way through, but unfortunately it just wasn't coming at this point in the race, trying to maximise my exit. But again, as you can see, urging the kart forward as much as I can just to try and catch up, it just wasn't coming. So here at this point, I think I was stuck in 13th, really trying to look for a way through if I could, trying to squeeze up the inside there on the second hairpin, but she just closes the door enough to allow me not to go through, so I lost a little bit of time there. She goes really wide once again. I was trying to find a way past her on the straight, but I think better of it and go too wide down the main straight. And here once again, you see how little grip a car has. She goes really wide here, and this allows me just to go up the inside there, switch back there onto the right hand side of her, and at this point the move's pretty much done. I'm side by side with her, and I managed to squeeze down the inside and make up the place into 12th position, really urging the car forward, just doing a few bunny hops just to try and gain as much speed as I could up the ramp and trying not to close her out as much as I was earlier in the race. So at this point we were in 12th position, and this is sort of where we ended the race as well. We're sort of stuck in 12th now, and the two drivers ahead in 11th and 10th were a little bit too far up the road to catch up to. So at this point for me, it was just all about just trying to put in as best lap time as I possibly could. So here I really got my head down and thought if I could at least catch up to the guys ahead in the little train, then I will be very happy with my performance overall. Even though it hasn't been the performance that I really wanted, I thought if I could manage that, then it will at least be some sort of congratulations to myself. So here really trying to get my braking on point, ready for the first hairpin, and then trying to get as close to the apex on the second hairpin to minimise the track length. Again, going a little bit wider into the final corner here just to try and get a bit of a better exit going down the start finish straight. We come across the line there 38.976, so almost akin to our fastest lap so far, and you could see straight away by having a little bit of clean air we're able to put in some pretty fast laps compared to where we were earlier in the session, being around the 40-second mark. So there, looking back over my shoulder as I was just trying to make sure that Charlotte behind wasn't actually catching up, but instead coming through, barreling through, was Finley Williams in second place of this race. So I let him past and really wanted to tag along behind him and try and put in as good a lap time as I possibly could. You see he goes quite wide there, and this allows me to close up behind him quite a bit, and I thought if I could get as close up behind him as I possibly could, then this would lead to a very good lap. So I knew he was really quick on the evening. See, he has a little bit of unconventional line through the Mickey Mouse section, so I actually managed to keep pace with him or even close the gap on him quite a lot. And again, just getting a really good exit out of the bottom corner, but due to my weight once again, he just does gain a kart length or two on me. So here really closing up behind him as much as I possibly can, just trying to maintain my lines, try and maintain my composure try and stay behind him as much as I can. Again, coming down the ramp, looking over my shoulder, and to my surprise, there was no one behind me at this point, so I managed to create quite a gap, getting the last corner quite well, and coming across the line here, a 38.854 second lap, which was in fact my fastest lap of the session and the last lap of the session. As you saw on the left, if you managed to catch it, the checkered flag. So there we go, that does bring us to the end of the video, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have enjoyed making it. If you have enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos in the future. As I've mentioned earlier, the regional final video will be coming out very soon, later this week. It is all edited, I just need to commentate over it, so that will be coming very soon. As always, my Instagram is linked in the description if you do want to stay up to date with myself. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.